Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Macon Centreplex, where your Macon Mayhem gets set to host the Pensacola Ice Flyers here on home ice. The Mayhem coming into this tilt in last place, hoping to bounce back after a disappointing defeat in Peoria last Saturday night, in which they were bested by a 5-2 final score, despite playing what Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael described as perfect hockey for the first 39 minutes of play. The Mayhem certainly with a chip on their shoulder coming into tonight's game, and will look to oust the Pensacola Ice Flyers here at the Macon Centreplex. Saturday night's game in Peoria against the first place Rivermen was executed to near perfection for the first 39 plus of the contest. The Mayhem led 2-0 and were merely a period away from defeating a nearly undefeated team on its home ice this season, but a last-minute second-period goal scored by Peoria captain Alec Hageman, which incidentally led to a Mayhem penalty, completely turned the tide of that game. The Rivermen rode the momentum, scored by Hageman into the closing 20 minutes, and seized control of the game with 4 third-period strikes. It was a demoralizing way for the Mayhem to finish such a hard-fought series, but despite the 5-2 final score from Saturday night's game, like we said, Coach Michael described the team's performance as stellar until the end of period 2. And Macon clearly frustrated the top squad in this league for the bulk of the weekend and will look to continue its hard work against 3 very formidable foes in as many nights at the Macon Centreplex this weekend. The first of whom will be the Pensacola Ice Flyers. They are here tonight. The Mayhem getting ready to kick off a 4-game homestand with a busy weekend against Pensacola, Huntsville, and Knoxville in that order. Pensacola is a team sitting firmly in third place in the SPHL. They remain one of the stingiest squads in the league, allowing just 71 goals in 30 games played. That's an average of 2.37 goals against per game. Only Peoria has had a stronger goals against average per game than that. So it'll be a defensive effort put forth by the Ice Flyers, we expect. And Macon's last outing with Rod Aldoff and company was just that. It was a road tilt at the tail end of a home-and-home series, which saw the Mayhem have a successful weekend. They took 3 points out of 4 on that weekend on January 3rd and 4th in their last meetings against Pensacola. The Mayhem rallied late to tie the Flyers in overtime in that second game down at the hangar, but ultimately fell by a 2-1 final score. Jesse Kessler netting the game-winning goal in overtime. More overtime hockey is certainly a distinct possibility tonight, folks. The Ice Flyers have gone to extra time in 3 consecutive tilts and in 6 of their last 8. They have certainly been frustrated over that span, having lost 5 extra time games in a row. As a matter of fact, their last OT victory came against Macon back on that night on January 4th. And while they have dropped 3 straight tilts, it's important to note that the Ice Flyers have not failed to secure at least a point in a single game since their last trip to the Centreplex on January the 3rd. That was the last time the Ice Flyers failed to get a point out of a game. So they've been on a nice little point streak, 8 consecutive games now in which they've at least gotten 1 in the standings, putting them tied for their season high of 8 consecutives. As for the Mayhem, a new player debuting tonight, Oscar Arfelt, the Swedish-born defenseman who was traded by Jesse Kalecki and the Fayetteville Marksmen earlier this week in a package deal which included Brett Johnson and Bo McHugh, neither of whom will play tonight for the Mayhem. Bo McHugh is still with the Rapid City Rush of the ECHL, while Brett Johnson has not reported and will obviously not be playing tonight, nor is he expected to play this weekend due to personal reasons. But Oscar Arfelt will make his debut. Very smooth skating defenseman. Ryan Michael has loved what he has seen from him just by virtue of watching him in Pensacola so far. In Fayetteville so far this season. Arfelt, very smooth skating defenseman with pretty good hands for his size. He stands at 6'3", 205 pounds. He'll be wearing the number 67 this season for the Mayhem, and perhaps most importantly, has a right-handed shot, which has been a rarity as far as defensemen go this season. The only other defenseman on the Mayhem who has been here for any extended period of time this season is Zach Urban, who has had another pretty strong year, but has not been able to hold down that right point position all by himself. So Ryan Michael has really had no choice but to put players who are not accustomed to playing over on that right side. Other defensemen like Jarrett Cupp, Alex D'Oliveira, Larry Smith, and others throughout this season and who have had to adjust to playing the right point position as a left-handed shot, and that's easier, or that's more difficult than it sounds to do. So Oscar Arfelt, we're very excited to see what he can bring to the table tonight and going forward. The players exchanged in that deal from Macon's side of things were Stathis Sumalitis and Jarrett Cupp, both of whom were very beloved players here in Macon. They're not players that Coach Michael would have dealt lightly, but he felt as though that trade needed to be done. The Mayhem in a position now where they need to start shaking things up a little bit. They have struggled this season, and Ryan Michael felt that a right-handed defenseman was essential, which it's hard to argue with him on that. And furthermore, the forwards that he got in exchange. Bo McHugh, a pretty sizable right winger who's known for his size and his grit and his strength on that right side, will certainly help with the Mayhem's depth. And Brett Johnson, a very fast, good puck-moving forward who has some pretty solid hands and high-end speed. He started the season in Huntsville and played 15 games in Fayetteville before being traded here, but the Mayhem have not seen him yet and will not see him in all likelihood this weekend. But hopefully we will get to see him play here very soon. Johnson, somebody who Ryan Michael is confident can help the team out in an area where it needs some assistance. Johnson, kind of more of a depth forward when he was in Fayetteville with the marksmen, but he made the most of his opportunities when he got his ice time. He has had a very respectable season offensively thus far. Johnson scoring 15 points in 25 games played. That's 7 goals, 8 assists, combined with his numbers from Huntsville earlier on. Tonight is college night here at the Macon Centreplex. It's game 1 of 3 in a 3-game weekend, game 1 of 4 in a 4-game homestand, the final of which will be next Friday night for our penultimate family 4-pack of the season. But tonight, the Mayhem offering $10 admission for college students with a valid college ID presented at the box office windows, as well as $5 Yuengling beers on draft all throughout the night. So it should be a pretty fun atmosphere here for some Thursday night hockey. It's the first and only Thursday night home game that the Mayhem are experiencing this season. I asked Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael on his thoughts heading into this extended 3-game homestand this weekend. Here's what the Mayhem bench boss had to say. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Coach, we've got 3 games in 3 days coming up. You guys are no stranger to that situation. We've had a couple of road trips in which you've played 3 days in 3 cities in 3 games. So my question to you is, what's been the message to the team in practice this week, knowing full well the grind that awaits?
Well, again, like I said, we didn't skate Monday just because we got back at 9:15 on Sunday night. So yet today it's not a physically taxing 2 days of practice, but it's a little bit more, structural and executing kind of what I'm looking for. So, like tomorrow there'll be a good bit of special teams, both power play and penalty kill, and some neutral zone work. And playing 3 different teams in 3 different nights is a bit of a challenge, just because you got to kind of figure out tendencies of each. Pensacola's a bit more of a heavy team, and Huntsville's got some heaviness but a little bit more skill, and then Knoxville's obviously highly skilled, very fast, smaller team. So it's just kind of trying to figure out how do we best counteract what they're doing and gives us success. So again, not physically taxing these last few days, but just trying to be sharp and doing it right in practice, so that way when we're under fire and under pressure during the game, we're trained to execute at a high level.
Yeah.
So there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. Ryan Michael describing the challenge that awaits and the grind that awaits this weekend. The Mayhem hosting 3 teams in 3 nights. It starts tonight with Pensacola, tomorrow night with Huntsville, and Saturday night with Knoxville. As for the Ice Flyers, this is more of a pit stop, so to speak. They're heading up to Roanoke tomorrow and Saturday. They will play the Rail Yard Dogs. In their eyes, 2 teams at the bottom of the standings. So for Rod Aldoff and company, it's just a matter of getting the points that they need to get, because the schedule will not get any easier from here, really for either side. as for Ryan Michael and the Mayhem, they're in a position now where they need to start winning games to keep their playoff hopes alive. Right now, the Mayhem sitting 5 points out of a playoff spot. Quad City Storm up with 28 points on the campaign, Macon with 23, and the Storm have 2 games in hand. So the clock is ticking, and I'm not going to say that every game from here on in is a must-win game, but that's certainly how the team has got to look at it. They cannot afford really hardly any more slip-ups, and from this point on, they need to be a hot team if they want to have a chance of making the postseason. So it begins tonight. The Mayhem pretty firmly into their second half of the season now, with just 9 home games remaining, 4 of which will be in the next 8 days. So they've got to take advantage of these home games. They've been much better on home ice this season than they have on the road, as have Pensacola. As a matter of fact, Macon's home record and Pensacola's road record are fairly similar. The Mayhem on home ice, a record of 8-8-3, and Pensacola has been nearly invincible on home ice. Certainly one of the best teams in their own barn this season, only failing to take a point out of 1 of those 15 games they've played at the hangar. They're 11-1-4 on the road. They're 7-4-3. A much less daunting record on the road than what they boast at home. So the Mayhem have got to take advantage of some of these points that are available to them over the next 3 days. Taking a look at our 3 keys of tonight's game. Number 1, capitalizing on scoring chances. These are the Mayhem's 3 keys of the game, mind you. The Ice Flyers, like we said, one of the best teams in the league defensively. They do not give up a lot of scoring chances. So when the Mayhem get those chances, they've got to take advantage. Mistakes are going to be very few and far between from the Ice Flyers, we can expect. And that segues into our second key of the game, limiting mistakes. The Ice Flyers, a team very patient. They know how to capitalize off of their opponent's mistakes. As a matter of fact, oftentimes you can see them just waiting for their opponents to make a mistake. So the Mayhem cannot, they've got to do everything in their power to limit turnovers and lapses in all 3 zones. And finally, winning the net front battles. That will be key to generating solid scoring opportunities because, like we said, Pensacola does not give up a lot of them. In fact, the Ice Flyers right now lead the league in shots against per game at just 27.7. They're second in the league in shots for per game with 34.6. So this is a team that knows how to limit its opponent's scoring opportunities. Winning the net front battles will help in terms of generating said opportunities. So capitalizing on chances, limiting mistakes, and winning the net front battles, these are your 3 keys of tonight's game. Let's take a look at who's hot for both sides. Sean Lynch, he's got 3 goals in his last 4 games. He's going to be somebody that the Ice Flyers are going to have to watch out for. He's going to be suiting up on the first line left wing spot alongside Stephen Pirog and Dylan Denemy, who was recently appointed an alternate captain by Ryan Michael on home games. Zach Urban will sport the A on road trips. Colton Walter also had a goal and a fight on Saturday in Peoria, just his second game with the Mayhem, and he made it count. In fact, his goal and his fight came probably within a 30-second span or so. So he's somebody who has certainly acclimated himself to his new team very quickly. Colton Walter sporting the number 19 for the Mayhem. And finally, David Pulowski. He's got 2 goals in 4 games played against Pensacola this season. And the last time these teams met, Pulowski scored Macon's only goal, which forced overtime, sending both teams to a sudden death. And Jesse Kessler ended Macon's hopes for its first road win at the time with a late goal in OT. Looking at Pensacola's side of things, Garrett Milan, he leads the Ice Flyers with 33 points this season, a nearly even goal-to-assist ratio, 16 goals, 17 assists, supremely skilled forward. Not much in the way of size, but that doesn't stop Patrick Kane, and that's sort of somebody who Garrett Milan reminds me of. Obviously, a bit of a skill gap, I would say, but I think Garrett Milan would be happy at all just to be compared to Patrick Kane. But the hands on him are legitimate, folks. Garrett Milan, somebody you cannot give open ice to. And if you're going to make a mistake, you would best hope that it's not Garrett Milan capitalizing off your mistake and taking the puck off your stick, because he will make you pay. Patrick Meganetti seems to always do well against the Mayhem. 7 assists in 4 games played against Macon this season. And Myers Moore, 4 points in his last 5 games. A defenseman from Sweden who's had a pretty solid campaign for Rod Aldoff thus far. He's just played 11 games for the Ice Flyers. and already has 4 goals, so he has made a name for himself in Pensacola. The starting lineup for the Ice Flyers is as follows. Tyler Andrews will line up on defense, and he will be joined by Igor Kostikov on his left, and Ryan Marcuse getting the nod to start at forward alongside Tanner Fraze and Michael Ederer. And finally, Jake Kupski has been given the green light to start in net tonight for Rod Aldoff and the Ice Flyers. Kupski's had a solid season, folks. A 1.89 goals against average and a .932 save percentage. That is near the top of the SPHL leaderboards. Kupski currently leading the league among qualified goaltenders in goals against average with 1.89. He's also the league leader in save percentage, .932. Pensacola knows how to recruit goaltenders extremely well. They had Brian Billett last season. Without him this year, they've not missed a beat. Kupski has been phenomenal in his tenure with the Ice Flyers this season. And he's somebody who comes with certainly a small degree of notoriety, you could say. He was a 7th-round draft pick by the San Jose Sharks in 2015. Spent 4 years at Union College where he played his Division I hockey. And he is somebody who has really stumped teams and has given them difficulty in scoring. He's a big part of the reason the Ice Flyers have had such a stout defensive season yet again. The Mayhem starting lineup will be announced momentarily here at the Macon Centreplex by our public address announcer, Charles Olson. But first, of course, Mac the mascot gets the announcement from Charles Olson. I'm not sure he was aware, but Mac couldn't make it here tonight, unfortunately, so there's a bit of a confusion here. Mac's not here tonight, and that was an oversight in the script, so we're going to just have to move on from that. Mac will be here, however, tomorrow and on Saturday night. The starting lineup will now be announced by our PA announcer, Charles Olson. It's just never the same in here without Mac. Anyone who's been to a Mayhem game will tell you that. Zach Urban starting at the right defense position. 5 points through 28 games this season, the team's leader in penalty minutes. He really plays with a lot of grit to his game. And his counterpart at the left point will be Wojtek Zemlitska, sort of the yin to Urban's yang. A much smaller, more of a puck-moving defenseman, more of the skilled type of defenseman. Urban, the more of a big-bodied, heavy hitter, grinder sort of defenseman. And Caleb Cameron will start on the left wing side of Macon's starting line. Cameron, an alternate captain for the Mayhem this season. He was certainly missed when he was out of commission on the 21-day injured reserve. Stepan Timofeyev will be on the right side. Colton Walter will center this line. Walter now leading the Mayhem in goals since his trade here with former leading goal scorer Marcus Ortiz. Walter with 20 points on the campaign, 12 of which are goals. Hayden Stewart has been given the nod to start tonight by Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael. Stewart with a record of 6-6-3, a goals against of 3.76, and an .878 save percentage. Stewart, a University of Cornell graduate, somebody who the Mayhem were thrilled to pick up off the waiver wire earlier this season. He'll be sporting he's sported the number 39 for the Mayhem this season. A Rockford, Illinois native, big Chicago Blackhawks fan growing up. He will tend the pipes tonight for Ryan Michael and the Mayhem. The singing of our country's national anthem will be next. In the meantime, folks, keep it right here. We're so glad to have you with us for some Thursday night hockey. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We'll be back in just a moment after our national anthem. Now we just await the opening face-off here at the Macon Centreplex. The Mayhem will be playing in their 34th game this regular season, coming into this tilt with a record of 9-19-5, countered by the Pensacola Ice Flyers' record of 18-5-7. The Flyers coming into this tilt in third place in the SPHL, hanging on by the skin of their teeth. They are trailed pretty closely for that position. Just 2 points behind are the Huntsville Havoc and the Knoxville Ice Bears. They both sit with 41 points, Pensacola with 43, but the Ice Flyers have several games in hand on both of them. A standing ovation given to Janine Bachon, one of the co-owners of Tropical Smoothie here in Macon. A round of applause given to her on her birthday. She is tonight's ceremonial puck dropper at the Macon Centreplex. Stephen Pirog, the captain for Macon, will skate out to center ice, joined by Craig Sescon of Pensacola. And Miss Janine Bachon given a warm hug by Mayhem captain Stephen Pirog and a handshake from Pensacola captain Craig Sescon. The Mayhem all embracing her at center ice now. Janine, somebody who's a very staunch supporter of this organization, and that's putting it mildly. She's at each and every game. She sponsors us through her business, Tropical Smoothie. The players get excellent discounts and deals there. You can find them there almost any day out of the week. They're over there at Tropical Smoothie enjoying the delicious smoothies that Janine and her staff make over there. And she's also at all of our line change shows every Tuesday night at the Rookery from 6 to 6:30 p.m. Very seldom does she miss one of those. She is just very involved with the team and gets a very well-deserved embrace from each and every one of the Mayhem players over the Mayhem logo at center ice. So a happy birthday to Janine Bachon, and a very ceremonious way to kickstart this hockey game and this 3-game homestand for the Macon Mayhem. Technically, it's a 4-game homestand. The 4th will be next Friday. The Mayhem hosting the Huntsville Havoc next Friday, February the 7th, 1 week from tomorrow, which is also against Huntsville. But that next Friday game on February the 7th, it's going to be our second-to-last family 4-pack of the season. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what that entails, for just $50, you can get 4 tickets and a $30 gift card at Texas Roadhouse, courtesy, of course, of Texas Roadhouse. If that's something that sounds like it's of interest to you, because it is a phenomenal deal, by all means, call our front office at 478-803-1592, and we'd be happy to get you all squared away with one of our Texas Roadhouse family 4-packs. The last one after that will not be until March 27th. So this is your last opportunity to get a 4-pack for a while, and we'd want you to take advantage of it because of how spectacular of a deal that it is. We were thrilled to be able to do it again this season because it's not something that we can do every game because of how great of a deal it is, but when we can do it, we hope for folks to be able to take advantage of it. So after that heartfelt ceremonial puck drop at center ice, the Mayhem and the Ice Flyers just about ready to roll here at the Macon Centreplex for what will be Game 34 for Macon, Game 31 for Pensacola. Ryan Michael against Rod Aldoff in the head coaching duel, and on the ice it will be just a duel of epic proportions, we imagine. Both teams hungry for points. The Ice Flyers have dropped 3 straight, all of which came in extra time. They have certainly felt snake-bitten and frustrated. Even though they've gotten points in 8 straight, folks, they'd be the first to tell you it doesn't feel successful because they've not all of them have been wins. In fact, their last win in extra time came against the Mayhem way back on January 4th. They did, however, beat Peoria a couple of weeks ago on the road. The opening face-off about to take place at center ice between Colton Walter and Ryan Marcuse. The referee for tonight's game is Scott McClement. The linesmen are Sean DeLoey and Dan Huntington. The puck drops, and this game is underway. Colton Walter winning the opening draw, and the puck trickles its way back into the far corner of the Macon zone. Zach Urban wraps one around to the near half wall in the Macon zone. Caleb Cameron advances it. Colton Walter, the Fairbanks, Alaska native, dumps it below the Pensacola goal line, where it's scooped up by Craig Sescon, whipped around the boards, but not out of the zone. Zemlitska kicked it back down to the adjacent corner where Stepan Timofeyev battles for it. Tyler Andrews now spins, gets away from Timofeyev, outlets it to his right. Tanner Fraze has tried to advance it past Zemlitska, couldn't do it. That's his second keep in the same shift. and will now head to the Macon bench for a well-deserved line change. He is replaced by Larry Smith. In the meantime, the Ice Flyers scoop it up from their own goal line. Ryan Marcuse sends it off the skates of Tanner Fraze down into the Macon zone beyond the goal line. That's an icing called against Pensacola. The clock has not started here at the Macon Centreplex, so had a couple of issues here so far in this game. So we're not exactly sure how much time is left in this first period, and this game will not be allowed to resume until they get this clock sorted out. Now they're just letting time tick off the clock. Right now it shows 19:54. Certainly there have been more than 6 seconds throughout this game, so I'm guessing they're just going to have to guesstimate. Right now the referee Scott McClement and the linesman Sean DeLoey are over at the timekeepers table speaking with Kevin Casey, one of our off-ice officials, about getting that fixed. Right now the clock still shows 19:54. Now they've just changed it. It's 19:20, which is certainly more accurate. Whether that's exactly accurate, we'll never know. Now it's 19:19. They allowed 1 more second to tick off the clock. In the meantime, this game about to be back underway. Stephen Pirog to take the face-off in the offensive zone in the far corner, in the far circle rather, and he wins it. Dylan Denemy from the far half wall tried to center it to Pirog, goes back to the line. Campbell hammers it wide of the far side post, the left post, and Kupski just watched it sail by his blocker. Now it's Tyler Andrews stepping out in front of his own net, and a penalty is going to be called here against Pensacola. Sean Lynch was hooked in front of the Pensacola net. And it will be Macon going to a very early power play. Holding is actually the call against the Ice Flyers. And that is Ryan Marcuse, who's going to be taking a seat in the All-State bonding penalty box. So the Mayhem power play getting an early opportunity here to strike. It has had its struggles lately, folks. The Mayhem power play has not scored a goal in 4 games. The last time was in Roanoke, where they had 8 opportunities to do so. They got 1 at the tail end of a 5-on-3 that was scored by Sean Lynch. He was the one who just drew this penalty. Pirog, far corner, spins with it, guarded by Sescon, who whacks it off the boards and out. It ricochets down into the near corner of the Macon end. It'll be Dylan Denemy scooping it up for Macon. Denemy will just drop it below his own goal line. Zach Urban pops it up the wing, and it's going to be skated forth by Colton Walter, who slides it across the ice. Dylan Denemy slams on the brakes and spins away from Garrett Milan. Right circle, puts it into the deep slot. Zach Urban sends it to Colton Walter inside of the left circle. He will return it to Urban, tees it up, slaps it over to Pirog, who fires, blocked by Milan's stick. Flutters just across the blue line, and Pirog will circle back into neutral territory and drop it on back to his fellow Canadian Zach Urban at his own blue line. 18:15 to go in period 1. Scoreless at the Macon Centreplex. An onside zone entry, but Pensacola quickly swarms at Patrick Meganetti, able to clear it off the stick of Walter and down. And Walter will just turn back to the Macon bench. The loose puck in the meantime will be scooped up by Alex D'Oliveira for the Mayhem. D'Oliveira, breaking it out of his own zone, will put it up the middle on the tape of Timofeyev, who will guide it to his left. Cousineau dropping it back to the left point. D'Oliveira sends it across. Caleb Cameron, far half wall, down to the far corner where it's twisted down to Timofeyev. Timofeyev near the goal line, centering it. Cameron whiffed on it, and now it's going to be scooped up by Blake Young and sent ahead for Meganetti's dump in, which reaches the goal line, and Alex D'Oliveira will gain some speed out of his own zone with 2.5 having expired in this game. 22 seconds to go on this Macon power play, brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. Keplinger, far half wall, loses it behind the net. Larry Smith unable to keep the puck alive at the blue line. Loose puck slides by, down into the right corner. Tanner Fraze is first there. As he circles to the outside of the Macon zone, we'll drop it down to Tommaso Bucci on the far side. Bucci just dumps it back inside of the Macon trapezoid. That'll just about do it for this Macon power play. And the Ice Flyers have returned to full strength. Not a whole lot in the way of scoring chances being generated by the extra man. But here comes Timofeyev right down the gut. He tries to dangle his way through. Loses the puck. Kessler shoves him to the ice. No penalty. And now it's battled for by the Mayhem in behind the net. Cousineau, Pulowski rather, fighting for it against Sescon. And he's trying to gain some separation. Rather, that's Ederer. He will pass it to his netminder, Jake Kupski, who sends it aside. And Tanner Fraze, rink-wide pass on the tape. Marcuse, left wing. He centers it. Here's a shot. They score. It is Michael Ederer finishing it off. The pass came his way from Ryan Marcuse. 2-on-1 rush into the Macon zone. Ederer had a step on everybody and just crashed the net. Not much Hayden Stewart could do. Ederer has opened the scoring. 1-0 Pensacola. And this is not a team that you want to play from behind against, that's for sure. Ryan Marcuse will get one of the assists, and I'm unclear as to who will get the secondary, but we'll hear in a moment. Pensacola has control. It's Myers Moore in his own zone, pursued by Dylan Denemy. He slid it across, and Campbell flings it out to the left wing side. Ray Pagozzi dumps it in behind the Macon net. There are two Campbells on the ice tonight, folks. There is no relation between them. Nathan Campbell of Pensacola and Ben Campbell of Macon. Both are defensemen who shoot left. But as far as I'm aware, there's no relation. Zach Urban twists it inside of his own trapezoid. It's been rimmed around all the way down by Zemlitska. Foot race is on. Nullifying the icing call is Dylan Denemy, who takes his man into the half wall on the near side, or rather the end wall on the near side of the ice. And it's been dropped back to the point for D'Oliveira's one-timer, which is routinely gloved by Jake Kupski, who will hang on to it. A bit of a kerfuffle ensues in front of Kupski, and now it glides its way over to the far corner of the ice. 15:43 to go in period one. It's Pensacola with a 1-0 lead. The goal being scored by Michael Ederer, his 8th of the season, and he's just cracked the 20-point plateau for Pensacola, which for them, there are only 2 players who have reached that milestone, the only other being Garrett Milan. Fairly certain that Eddie Matsushima had reached that before returning to the ECHL, where he's spent a good bit of time this season. Colton Walter winning the offensive zone faceoff. Timofeyev trying to tap it back to D'Oliveira, but it squeaks into the deep slot, and it's going to be skated out of there by Tommaso Bucci of Pensacola. Now it's dumped below Stewart's net. He leaves it for D'Oliveira. He will put it up to Timofeyev, turned over in the slot, and it's going to be Patrick Meganetti taking it into the half wall on the near side, giving it down to Tommaso Bucci, worked up the wall. Andrews with a head fake. He fires. It gets blocked, slides harmlessly to the far circle, and it's been cleared off the glove of Colton Walter and into Pensacola ice. Walter is beaten in the foot race by Andrews, and now it's given up to Patrick Meganetti. Meganetti to Bucci. He will slide one down the half wall near side. Larry Smith beating out Young. The centering pass eluded Meganetti, and it'll be taken by Pawlowski. Down the right side, 2-on-2. He's got Keplinger in tow. Pawlowski with some fancy stick work, but he didn't have much help. Keplinger far corner. Just leaves it there for Pawlowski. Keplinger gets it right back, has some room. He fires, ricochets wide of the goal. Now it'll be Josh Kuzno returning it down to Pawlowski in the near corner. He slides one along the end wall. Keplinger will be first there. He's got it on his stick now. Keplinger tried to reverse it. He gets it to Pawlowski in the far corner, who's well covered. Jesse Kessler takes a hit from his former teammate, Josh Kuzno, gets it around the boards, but not out. Larry Smith fighting for it. Kuzno taps it to the point. Long flip shot by Keplinger is off the mark. And it's going to be hacked up the wall. Larry Smith is in a bit of a tussle now with Tommaso Bucci, but the two of them will not drop the gloves. Campbell dumps it into the left corner, and it'll be Jesse Kessler corralling it for the Ice Flyers. He's able to flutter it off the glove of Campbell. Stays in the zone. Rather, that's Lynch. He gives it across. Cameron drives down the right wing side. He has to turn. Cameron back to the right point. Urban's long wrist shot. Waffle boarded away by Jake Kupski with the blocker. Big hit thrown near half wall by Cameron. Crowd loving that. Down here at the bottom of section 210, rather 110. Absolutely loving that massive hit thrown by Caleb Cameron into the half wall on Pensacola captain Craig Sescon. We're going to take a brief time out here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 1-0 Pensacola, your score with 13:46 to go in the first period. Michael Ederer capitalizing on a 2-on-1 rush. He was fed a nice cross-crease pass by Ryan Marcuse, who tallied his 11th assist with that goal scored by Michael Ederer. So, like we said, we're going to step aside here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, folks. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast up till this point. Again, your score, 1-0 Pensacola with 13:46 to go in period one. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Keep it right here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Are you looking to raise some money for a cause and have a blast while doing it? The Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information. The beloved Family 4-Pack is back. The Mayhem are offering this incredibly affordable package for several games throughout the season. For just $50, you receive 4 tickets and a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse at 5080 Riverside Drive right here in Macon. The dates for these 4-pack nights will be announced on social media as they become finalized, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the most up-to-date content. Trying to plan out a night of fun for an upcoming birthday? Why not spend it right here with the Mayhem? The Tommy's Bakery and Cafe Birthday Suite is available right here at the Macon Centreplex for all home games during the 2019-20 season. The birthday suite comes chock full of benefits, including 12 tickets, a private suite area with a great view of the ice, donuts from Tommy's Bakery, a visit from Mac the Mascot, and a special present for the birthday child. All of this for just $250, with additional tickets available for $12 each. Visit MaconMayhem.com or call our office for more information. Good news, Mayhem fans. The group outing package you know and love is back for the 2019-20 season. If you bring a group of 10 or more people, you receive discounted tickets at $13 apiece, reserved seating, free hats, t-shirts, or pucks for each member of your group, and an experience upgrade of your choosing. Said upgrades include the High Five Tunnel, Bench Buddies, a picture on the ice after the game, and much more. Just be sure to call our office at 478-803-1592 in advance, and we'll get you all squared away.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. We apologize for the delay. One of the stanchions came out after that hit thrown by Caleb Cameron on Craig Sescon along the near half wall of the Pensacola zone. It was a good-sized hit, but it caused one of the stanchions to come loose. And the rink crew here at the Macon Centreplex very prompt in getting it seen to and squared away. Hopefully we're able to continue this game in timely fashion here. Right now, I see Scott McClement, the referee, speaking with one of the off-ice officials down on the other side of the ice. And had a few issues with the glass here this season coming loose. I don't know whether to blame the fact that it's an older building or the fact that the players are hitting pretty hard. But either way, it looks like we should be able to get back underway relatively soon here. The teams have not been instructed to go down the tunnels and off the ice. They're still out there. I do not have eyes on Scott McClement at the moment, and that's the person who it's ultimately going to be his call. So it looks like we might be delayed for a little bit longer, folks. So we're just going to play back our last radio interview on the creek from this past Monday morning. In the meantime, please enjoy that, and we'll have more updates coming your way as soon as they become available to us. 1-0 your score with 13:46 to go here in period 1 at the Macon Centreplex in favor of Pensacola. Michael Ederer with the goal. We'll be back as soon as we have some information regarding the glass and the stanchion here on the near half wall of the Pensacola zone. We'll be back shortly, folks. Keep it right here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
100.9 The Creek, Real Music, Real Radio, Creekside Mornings, Tony Doolin, Charles Davis. That is Tyler Childers, who did not win a Grammy.
Should have won a Grammy last night.
Country Squire, title track from his last album.
Yola should have won a Grammy last night.
Yeah, but they didn't. Charles.
Throw the whole Grammy away.
You know who else should have won a Grammy for Best Spoken Word Latin Album?
Alex Von Coydle?
Alex Von Coydle from the Macon Mayhem.
Yeah. From Alex Von Coydle, the voice. I didn't even know you were into that. Alex Von Coydle, the voice. Voice. Alex Von Coydle,
It was for his book on tape, Mi Burro Es Muy Grande.
I mean, I know you were nominated for the Best Electronica Hockey Announcer Intro Theme Song. Sad you didn't win that either. Robbed of that too. But I mean, that
was a secret.
I mean,
sir.
I'm feeling your pain today, bro.
By the way, you can't download that on iTunes.
I mean, and Spotify if you want to. Make it your ringtone.
99 cents.
Hell of a deal.
Morning, Alex.
I'm trying to, morning.
You want to try again? You want to start over?
I've written them several times. I just haven't gotten anything back. I guess they didn't like it.
Guess not.
Grammy voters.
Zach
man.
Smith is here. Good morning, Zach.
Morning, guys.
How are you?
Man.
Doing pretty well.
Oh, we got a big week.
Yeah.
We got 3 games. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Big events for each night, Alex.
Yeah, we can't wait. We've got college night on Thursday.
Come on with it.
We're doing a $10 ticket discount for college students with a college ID. We're looking into getting some drink specials for that night as well.
Because it is Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday, exactly.
Shout out to
Is
Section
this the
108.
first Thursday game we've had this year?
It's the only one.
Only one.
It's the only Thursday home game.
There were a lot last year.
Yeah, I know.
One
So
Thursday game this year.
That's a good thing, I think, for us. But when we do have them, we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of them and
Yeah.
getting the right audience out there. So
Absolutely. My apologies to you, Zach. I will not be there Thursday.
Anthony Ennis, little fella.
Anthony, little fella Ennis,
Little fella.
That's okay. That's
will be the in-game host Thursday.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I got to get up early in the morning on Friday.
Come on, man. We had a lot of drinking games adapted to Mayhem planned for that.
Tony, you're going to miss out on those.
Man, I'm great at drinking games. Also, we will probably not be doing that.
Yeah, no, probably not.
I do want to say this. We've not addressed this on the air, Alex. I don't know if you addressed it during your play-by-play, but a couple of weeks ago, we were playing musical chairs after the first period. Now, there was some question because it's tough to hear when you're in that bowl on the ice. It's kind of tough to hear the music, and it was a song that had some quiet passages in it, and I thought that the song may have stopped, and I eliminated a contestant from the game.
Oh, no.
The entire arena boos me.
Oh, no, Tony.
did you eliminate like a 4-year-old kid?
No,
You're
it was-
out of here.
Yeah,
What was the age, Tony?
she looked like maybe she was 20. Something like
Okay.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
then she'll be all right.
Should be all right. It's not like I eliminated a 4-year-old child. Like you
That'd
said.
have been bad.
But I got booed, Alex. Did you not address this during play-by-play? Did you not hear this?
Usually during play-by-play, I'm going to the bathroom and playing back some interviews that we have or line change or something like that.
Basically, no.
I never get to hear your broadcast between periods, so I don't know what you do. I don't know if you just sit up there and sing or what.
No,
Little chair
broadcasters.
dancing.
Broadcasters need a little relief too.
Yeah. So that's your smoke break. You just play some pre-recorded stuff. Go grab a chicken sandwich,
Sure,
whatnot.
Sure.
Get him some Dippin' Dots or something, just to keep his energy up.
Never eaten during a game before.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Yeah, not
Is that a
once.
superstition?
No, not really. But I have eaten before a game and accidentally burped on the air one time.
Oh,
So
no.
kind of learned my lesson.
Oh, no.
We do that every day.
I mean, we do, man. I mean,
We don't have the high standards that you have,
Well, it was mid-sentence though. It just kind of
What?
exploded.
though. Oh,
that's what happens when you go to a Brazilian steakhouse, bro. You get the meat burps.
you get the meat burps. So Thursday we're taking on Pensacola.
That's right.
Puck drop 7:30.
Yeah.
I only bring up the booing thing just because I hope Anthony gets booed.
We can make it happen.
So we can
I really hope Anthony gets booed.
we can put the wheels in motion to
So
make
I'm
sure
not
he
the
gets.
only one. I felt so hated though. I did. I was like, oh God. And you got to be sensitive. I wanted to turn around and say, hey, I'm not a ref. But I didn't. I didn't because I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't say that in the Centreplex.
Maybe one of our fans will
And
make
the
a
Centerplex.
sign with the Grinch missing an eye to troll him or something.
Oh, Anthony did make a fine one-eyed Grinch.
He did.
So let's talk about Friday night's
Yeah.
game. Again, 7:30 puck drop. Friday night, we are taking on Knoxville.
Knoxville.
Huntsville.
Huntsville.
Friday.
That's what I
Yes, sir.
don't correct me, Evan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ever.
I mean, it was just a different bill.
Zach looked a little scared of it. He was like, is he really not supposed to correct him? No, Zach, you can correct me. It's fine. It's fine.
Don't do it, bro.
So Friday night, we are taking on Huntsville.
Huntsville.
The Havoc, I believe.
That's correct.
What are we looking for in that game? It is First Responders Night.
That's right. Havoc versus Mayhem. Always fun, right? All
Yep.
that's missing is pandemonium, I guess.
Wow.
Oh,
Life is pandemonium.
I'll be the in-game host.
So there's
You
that.
got pandemonium.
So we got
Friday
that, too.
night. No problem.
First Responders Night, we're doing a similar discount that we're doing for the college students on Thursday. $10 admission for anyone who's a local police officer, firefighter, things like that.
Ambulance driver, first response team, things like that.
Paramedics. We're
Yeah.
gonna, I think last year we had a ambulance in front of the Centreplex with flashing lights going on and
Okay.
stuff like that.
All
So
right.
we'll probably try to do something like that again on Friday. And then our big night Saturday, we're doing our $6
yeah.
tickets. Pack the Plex is what we're calling it. And we've just been reaching out to anybody and everybody who we possibly can to try to fill the arena as much as we can. We're trying to get our biggest attendance, or our biggest crowd in a single game on that Saturday. So we're looking forward to it.
$6 tickets a great value. We're taking on Knoxville
Knoxville.
on Saturday. 7 o'clock puck drop on that. And it is Nickelodeon night.
That's right. Yep.
When will the jerseys be debuted, Alex?
So I sent in the reveal graphic to Nickelodeon. We're still waiting on approval from them,
Okay.
but
All right.
I've seen the jerseys. Everyone on our staff has seen them. We like them.
Okay.
and we're just waiting on the green light from
From the
Nickelodeon
Nick.
to go
Okay.
ahead and post them on our social media. But it'll be this week. It'll probably be early this week, either today or tomorrow, I think.
All right, folks, welcome back. Well, I'm seeing that if you're tuned in on SPHL Live, you're seeing it as well, but both teams are heading back to their locker rooms at the moment. There's an issue not just with the glass and the stanchion that came out after the hit, but also with the ice all around it. It seems like there may be shards of glass down there, and also down in that section, in section 110, where the hit took place. So there's going to be a lot more work that needs to be done, so this is going to be an extended delay, I'm afraid. We'll be sure to update those of you tuned in as frequently as we can. But for now, folks, I'm afraid all we can really do is step aside and continue to play back our radio commercials. I'll play back our line change archive from this past week. Don't want any dead air, obviously, but there's also not a whole lot to talk about. So I'm going to step aside while they get this squared away. In the meantime, though, please do enjoy these playbacks that we have for you. And again, we hope to be back up and running before too long. Anytime that there's an update, I'll be sure to pop back onto the headset and inform those of you tuned in on what's going on. So we appreciate your patience while we get this sorted out. In the meantime, please enjoy the remainder of this Creek segment from this past Monday morning, followed by our 11th episode of Season 2 of Line Change, which will be coming up next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 1-0 Pensacola with 13:46 to go in the first period. We'll resume the game as soon as they get that issue sorted out. As a matter of fact, folks, they might, I don't know if they're going to do this, so don't quote me on this, but it would make sense to have the first intermission now, get this all taken care of, and then just play 33 minutes and 46 seconds of unimpeded hockey. Now, that would make sense, but I don't know if they're going to do that way, especially considering this is a Thursday night. It's a later start anyways, with it being 7:30 rather than 7 o'clock. It's a work night, a school night. You don't want to keep people here longer than you have to, and this is not something that you want to happen, especially on a Thursday night. So if that idea is suggested, I would recommend whoever's in charge of making the decision to say, let's just do this first intermission now and come back in 20 minutes and play 33 minutes and 46 seconds of unimpeded hockey to wrap up periods 1 and 2. I'm not sure if they'll do that or not. If it's something they decide to do, I'll be sure to let you know about it. And of course, like I said, any updates that I hear, I'll be sure to update those of you tuned in as well. Again, folks, we apologize for the delay. Appreciate your patience, and we'll be back before long on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by Endeavor Streaming and on YouTube.
Nice. All right, so we'll be looking for that. And you said there may be an announcement maybe this week, something? You said
That's
you wanted
right.
to tease it?
Yep, we've got a big announcement that we're making tomorrow as well.
Okay.
So just stay tuned on all of our social media as always. It'll be on our website
Okay.
and our MailChimp. I don't know who receives my MailChimps, but it'll go out there as well.
Okay.
For some reason, I received 3 of them.
3?
Every email that gets sent out, I get 3.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Do you oversee like multiple Creek email accounts? That's probably why.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I still don't get what the hint was. What the hint at?
What?
No, he said he was just going to tease. He didn't say the'd be a hint.
I thought it was going to be a hint.
No.
But then what you teasing for?
I'm teasing because there's going to be a big announcement tomorrow.
I'm done. I see the reason why you didn't win that Grammy.
I thought you should have won. You were robbed,
I
Alex.
mean,
So,
just saying.
Zach,
like
this
Leo.
weekend, any surprises in the in-game promotion area that I need to be aware of?
Oh yeah, we are having a touch a truck on Friday.
Okay,
kinda
touch a
like
truck.
Alex said, and then on Saturday it's Nickelodeon Double Dare. I don't know if you remember that show, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of the show we
Okay.
adapted for it. So
Okay.
we're gonna be having some challenges and stuff. So we'll see how those turn out.
We crawling through big peanut butter and jelly sandwiches trying to find flags and things? Is that what we doing? we.
I think that's a little bit too messy for
Okay.
us, but we'll have something.
I'm
Is Alex being slimed?
Oh, please tell me somebody got to get slimed.
Oh, we're trying. We're trying to
Okay,
plan
now.
something out.
If we leave it up to a fan vote, though, everyone knows who it would be.
Yeah, me.
Because you got booed. So.
Well, actually, yeah, maybe.
I got booed.
I was gonna say Blair, but
no, it's going.
people-
It's going
people
to
would wanna
Tony.
see Blair
He may be
slammed.
the only one I'd lose to. Let's. Blair, I'd vote for you too. So,
To save yourself.
we did
No,
discuss
we-
that. We did discuss possibly sliming Blair. Is that not happening?
I mean, I think we're thinking about doing a fan vote between the staff and then maybe a player as well. So
Do not put my name.
Put
on
Tony's
that.
name on
Do
that
not
list, Zach.
Put my name
might
on
do it.
that.
we came this close to slamming Colin last year.
It almost happened.
Zach, put his name on that. Put his name on that ballot.
Zach, don't put my name on the ballot.
We're
And
gonna
don't
do
even put
it.
his name. Just put the guy who eliminated the little girl on the ice, and that'll get them all on there. That'll get them all on there. Oh yeah, I remember that dude.
I got booed by the entire Centreplex.
I'm telling you, it was loud. Like,
I was like,
it reverberated.
I think I was turning red. I'm not sure. I was like, look, there's no prize for this. What?
Boo. Our fans know how to boo, if nothing else.
That is, they do. It is a skill set.
Enthusiastic, different ranges of them.
So if you want tickets to any of these 3 games, College Night on Thursday, First Responders Night on Friday, and of course, Pack the Plex for Nickelodeon Night on Saturday. Jersey auction after the game as well.
Yes.
Don't want to forget that. You can go to
MaconMayhem.com.
I was going to say the Centreplex box office. You can do that too.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
Or get them online.
Get them there.
Online is fine.
Yeah.
Yep. If you want to save yourself the fees on Ticketmaster, then just go to the box office and do it that way. And if it's a group of 10 or more, as always, you can book it through our office by calling 478-803-1592.
All right, let's talk about this line change tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
All right.
The Coach Ryan Michael coaches show downstairs. You know who the players are that will be in attendance tomorrow night.
I don't yet, but
Okay.
I do have a list. I think I showed you who
Yeah,
all has done
I was
what.
talking about your list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking about this morning.
Okay, so as of right now, the people who have not done line change on our team are Colton Walter, obviously, because he just got here, Wojtek Zemlicka, and Hayden Stewart. Oh, and Chamello.
Oh, there we
it's-
go.
Those are
Limoncello?
those are 4 potential players who haven't done it yet this season. Who
Now the morning show list is much longer.
it is, yeah.
A lot longer list, guys.
It's harder to get people to that one.
I know.
Which after they do it, they always enjoy it. They want to come back. But
Nobody wants to get up this early.
yeah,
Nobody wants to get up this early. I understand. I don't either.
I wouldn't
don't
advise
either,
it,
Alex.
but you know.
Hey,
I'm glad Zach got up this early. Good morning, Zach.
Yeah,
I normally wouldn't. So
I know.
I mean, you know.
he's doing me a huge solid all of last week and this week by driving me to work. So I appreciate it.
You know.
Probably gonna buy him a steak or something.
Oh,
I'm gonna hold you.
don't
to
take him
that.
to the
Damn.
Brazilian steakhouse. You have to flip the cards over. It gets a little crazy.
Good Lord. He's taking you out to eat.
That's
Zach.
all it takes just to get a steak dinner out of Alex is
Just
driving
like
around?
like a Texas Roadhouse steak.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Here's
No offense,
take
Texas
it.
Roadhouse.
no.
I'll take it.
We've been talking Brazilian
Very
steakhouse all morning. The unlimited meat. They limit you
We're
at
not
Texas
going to
Roadhouse.
a Brasserie Circa or something like that.
Look, they break those Texas Roadhouse steaks down by weight. But I think they got a 20 ounce.
Get you a big one.
They got a 20.
Get you a big one.
Get the 20.
I'm
Texas
gonna-
Roadhouse.
I'm
I
gonna take
love Texas
advantage.
Roadhouse.
All the rolls.
Peanuts and rolls.
All the rolls.
It's like Olive Garden is known for soup, salad, and breadsticks. Texas Roadhouse,
Peanuts and rolls, baby.
So I'm going to pull a Tyler here and to remind everyone that speaking of Texas Roadhouse, we've got our next family
You
4-pack
better get it.
on February 7th.
You better get it.
Look at that segue.
That includes 4 tickets and a $30 gift card at Texas Roadhouse, all for just $50. It's going to be Friday, February 7th.
Look at him.
First home game after this weekend.
All right. Alex, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Zach,
Thank you
good
guys.
to see you.
Yeah, nominee.
Yeah, we have played again.
Damn shame he lost.
Damn shame. This is fine production work.
But Billie Eilish decided needed to get that award, so it's
Here's the Secret Sisters cabin on the creek.
All right, everyone. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. As always, we really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for coming to episode 11 of Season 2 of Line Change with Coach Ryan Michael. I understand that you've probably got plenty of questions to ask tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and keep my part of the show very brief. I'm just going to ask these gentlemen one question each, and from that point on, the show will belong to you guys. We're going to have a crowd mic that we pass around as always. The only thing that we ask is that you please ask your questions and voice your comments into this crowd mic so that we can get it onto our archived version on YouTube later on. Our guests tonight are forwards Mike Chamello and Colton Walter. If you would, please give a round of applause to these two gentlemen. We're really excited to have both of them here. But the first question I want to ask, as always, is to Coach. Coach, you guys went up to Peoria this past weekend. I thought you had some brilliant flashes both Friday and Saturday night. Took the Rivermen to overtime for the first time in a couple of seasons, got a point on Friday night. Had a great start to the game on Saturday, and unfortunately things took a turn for the worse, I think, towards the end of the second period there. If you could just take one thing away from that series, what do you think it would have been?
I thought it was a pretty good weekend, to be honest with you. Friday we had plenty of chances to bury and couldn't find a way to get a couple that maybe we should have, and played pretty well enough defensively. Stewie played great, and then Saturday, I thought it was stellar up until kind of the end of the second, and I said it in between periods is maybe the difference of going into that third period with the score being 2-0 versus 2-1. It's one goal difference, but I think it means everything in the world. And why I was frustrated with that goal was it was 20 seconds left in the period, so it's vital time. Like I said, we're up 2-0 on the road in a building that's hard to play in against a top team in the league, and we win the draw clean, and we don't execute the face-off play, and it turns into a goal with 12 seconds left, and I think that kind of got them going a little bit, and I could have adjusted a little bit quicker to some things in the neutral zone, I think, in the third, but it was a promising weekend in the sense that frustrated the crap out of that team for a good portion of that weekend. So obviously 1 point isn't good enough, and I think we certainly could have had more than that, but I thought it was better. It was more consistent.
Yeah, without a doubt. And if that's a series where you just looked at the box score and saw the final score, you're really not getting the whole picture. It was an outstanding effort put forth by the Mayhem both nights. Really, you could just feel it, even from watching the game on SPHL Live, the huge momentum shift that came at the end of period 2, as you said, on Saturday. But for those of you tuned in, I'm sure that you're aware of what was announced earlier on Mayhem social media, but the team officially announced its extension with Spectra. We will be staying here for the next 5 seasons. Obviously, everyone in the organization extremely ecstatic with the news today, and we just can't wait to see what the future holds here in Macon. And this was the plan from day one. We always wanted to make this a long-term home, and it's great for all of us to see that it's coming to fruition here. But Mike, I wanted to ask you about that because you're somebody who's pretty vested in this community now at this point. You've been kind of in and out of rotation here with the Mayhem for the past couple of seasons. You met your girlfriend here. You're very involved here in Macon, and you clearly love playing here. So my question to you is, what was your reaction when you found out about the extension today?
I mean, I was just excited for Macon and for the fans that, they get 5 more years of hockey. I know that there's a passionate group of fans here, and I think it's exciting for everybody that there's more hockey in Macon. And obviously for me, I always love coming back here. I have my girlfriend, Kelly, that she tries me to continue to be here in Macon, and I work as hard as I can for it. And I just think that it's awesome to see that there's 5 more years. I know there was some speculation or there was things going around about what was going to happen with Macon. So I'm thrilled for all of the fans. I'm thrilled for the community. It's great to have hockey. Being a Canadian, I know that hockey is a big part of you, so I can imagine what it's like for some of the fans here. I know it's like to have hockey as a big part of me, so I'm just really happy that it's going to be back here in Macon for 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on the big sigh of relief. I think that's just because of how much speculation there was with the state of the current contract expiring at the end of the season for all parties involved, whether it's staff, players, fans. Just a huge sigh of relief for everybody. So Colton, this next question I have is for you. You made your debut with the team this past weekend in Peoria, got your first taste of playing with the Mayhem. Didn't take you long to assert yourself. On Saturday, you had a goal and a fight. So getting right into the Mayhem style of hockey, which we appreciate. My question to you is, how have you felt like you've gelled with the team through just 2 short games of being here?
I think it's been a good process. Everybody's that I've met through the team has welcomed me in with open arms, and everybody's a good guy in that locker room, and there's no groups or cliques or anything, so it's an easy fit to come in from Roanoke in just a short amount of time.
Sure. All right, guys, I've got one more question for you, and then I'll let the audience take over, as I'm sure they're chomping at the bits to do so. The question is this. It's Nick Night on Saturday, as all of you are aware. Specialty jerseys have been released. They'll be worn on Saturday and auctioned off after the game is over. What is all of your favorite Nickelodeon shows from growing up?
I guess I'll start us off here.
Sure.
I'm going to go with SpongeBob.
Solid choice. Yep.
SquarePants.
That was one of the biggest ovations we've ever had.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be SpongeBob too, probably.
SpongeBob.
Honestly.
All right. Coach,
Yeah, mine's definitely SpongeBob.
we've got a clean slate up here. All right, guys. Well, that's all the questions that I have. The next part of this show will now belong to you. Again, the only thing we ask is that if you have a question or a comment, please do so into the microphone here so we can get it all saved on our YouTube channel after the show is over.
All right, tell me about Stathis and Jared.
As to what? Why?
As to why.
Okay. Well, I'll say it this way. I don't know why that's good. Stathis did something I didn't appreciate and approve of this weekend, and as a result, I chose to sit him, bench him, didn't play him, and came to be a mutual decision that he didn't want to be here anymore, and I didn't want him here. So, in order to get the deal done, I got done. There was another bystander, and it just happened to be.
So I haven't finished watching last weekend's games, but since there hasn't been a line change in between those two, one of the things I noticed from the previous weekend is our power play units went from being what's usually 4 forwards and 1D to 3 forwards and 2D.
Yeah.
And wanted to know if that was an intentional choice to try and limit some of the shorthanded opportunities, or was giving guys a different look on the power play. What was kind of your motivation for making that switch?
It was a bit of both. I mean, I felt like Roanoke's got, if you watch their games online, their end zones are a bit bigger. Part of it was kind of mixing it up and giving it a different look, kind of rotating from a bit of an overload to an umbrella and constantly just kind of moving. The only issue when we have 1D, we're in a 1-3-1 essentially, and my only issue with that is we just get too static. I have to stand here the whole time, and we kind of stop thinking and stop moving. So I tried to simplify it and break us of that habit by changing it up and just giving a little bit more freedom. So that was kind of the decision. I mean, part of it was also, even in Peoria, we had one sequence where one of the units, I had sent 1D and 4 forwards, and getting too low into a battle where he shouldn't have been, and I saw almost a 2-on-1 just develop right in front of me, and that kind of put me off on that. So, tomorrow we're going to work on it a good bit because we need to be better. I think that, scoring, they have the best special teams in the leagues, but, being able to score 1 or 2, Friday or Saturday maybe is the difference for us winning.
To say off her last comment is, Colton, welcome. Tamela, you're not going anywhere. You stay put. And just a reminder, we're only, 2 or 3 points from being in the playoff, 8th place. Is that accurate? About 2 or 3 points from?
In relative to the deal, or why I made the trade?
No, nothing with the trade. Okay. Just our standings.
Yeah, we're right there.
Yeah, we're right there. So we still got a season to play.
Right.
We're still in this.
Right, and that's, for me in that deal, it was, I want to win now, and I fully intend on making playoffs. So, and at the same time, I think we need to get younger a little bit, and I saw it as an opportunity to get a couple pretty good rookies that have established themselves early, and
The opposite of what happened 2 weeks ago.
So my question is for Colton. You had a really interesting 2018-19 season where you got to play for 3 teams, and one of them was the regular season champion Peoria Rivermen, and then you got to go to Roanoke that got to knock them out of the playoffs after the challenge round. While you were in Roanoke when that challenge round happened, did that really cause as big a stir in the locker room, feeling disrespected that you got chosen, or was it more of just an on-ice thing that you felt caused that upset?
We had a feeling going into the selection show that they were going to choose us as their first-round pick, so we kind of just had a little bit of a edge to us because there's not just myself, but there are other guys that have played for Peoria's organization for some time that ended up in Roanoke, and so it was kind of fuel for the fire and just kind of motivated us to go out there and get the job done.
Better set that fantasy lineup, Sean. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints?
I mean, I have another one, so.
Okay.
So following up on that last part there about being in Peoria and Roanoke, you were also in Huntsville for a portion of that season. And does it ever feel strange, like thinking back kind of what if I had stayed in Huntsville and they continue on, or is it more of a clean break in your mind and you don't want to go there?
Obviously, when you end up somewhere, you obviously want to be there as long as you possibly can and just kind of build a tenure there. But unfortunately, this profession, it doesn't always work that way. So when it happens, it's just kind of a clean breakaway. There's no hard feelings on either side, and it's just you have to find a spot to go somewhere else and kind of build up the same resume.
Hey, so a couple years ago, the guys would go to the elementary schools and read to the kids. How come that they're not doing it this year? Or was that a promo that's just not come up yet? Or is that just something that they're not possibly going to do?
To be honest, I don't really do that. That's not really part of my daily figuring out, so I don't want to throw the guy to my left under the bus or the gentleman way to the right over at the bar under the bus, so I don't know if they want to answer that. But,
Zach, would you care to answer? Chime in?
need the microphone.
Yep. Either that or speak up. She was wondering why we haven't done as many readings to the kids at schools this season.
Something about the morning and practice schedule.
We're practicing when they want us there.
Yeah, in the morning.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
No. They were just there. They were just at Georgia College today. Yeah. We do that quite a bit with colleges. We've got a couple of interns from Wesleyan, and they're great. I can't really speak to how much they represent us on campus or what they do, but I know that Tyler, who is the one who found them, has kind of had them, working at booths and passing out flyers and things like that. But I see what you're saying about doing a more hands-on approach at Wesleyan for sure, especially with college night coming up, right? Thank you. Got a question from DJ, who's usually here. He couldn't make it tonight. He asked Coach, with the arrival of several new faces coming to Macon, what excites you the most about what this team can potentially be capable of down the stretch this season? Also, is Entma back, and if not, what's his timetable on his return? I guess he's asking if he's 100%.
Yeah, Emma's back. Yeah. I thought he was good Saturday, maybe a little rust, but you know, overall health-wise, he's fine. Practice today, so that's square. You know, new faces. It's especially with the deal I just did. I think it gives us a little bit more depth in some areas we needed it. And it's younger guys that look at, for example, Fayetteville's forward group. They're very deep and they've got a lot of skill. So I think those two guys are guys that maybe weren't given the best opportunities with kind of the guys they have there. So maybe with more opportunity here, their ceiling's even higher. So I just think it was important to grab some younger guys that are good now, but I think can be good by the end of the year and next year, and I think that's what's the most exciting part.
In that vein, do we have an update on Danny Caesar and how he's doing?
I put him back, or I moved him from the 30 to the 21. He's still not 100% necessarily, and we're kind of working with recommendation of ortho to kind of figure out where he's at. There hasn't really been much of an update. It's still kind of a waiting game just to make sure we have all the facts and he's 100%
Hello.
Hi. Hi again.
Okay, we have a lot of road games coming up, and we've won one road game, which was cool, and we've lost in overtime, but we still got a point from that. What is the game plan? Because we've got a lot of new people coming in. Is there a master plan that's going to happen that you can talk about, or
what, like
in terms of are we going
am
to
I
see more
breaking
wins?
out the magic sauce now to win? Is that
Yeah.
I mean, we just got to keep getting better. I mean, I think we're getting there. And I think we just gotten kind of to a point where maybe it's more personnel change. I don't want to do it too much because I don't want it to be a constant, new faces and guys constantly on the learning curve. But at the same time, I also think it's beneficial because I don't want to say they're more hungry or more eager, but sometimes a change of scenery is good for both the team as well as the players. So I think both guys I'm bringing in are going to be impact guys right away. Like I said, adding some depth maybe up front and getting a right shot defenseman, which we desperately needed, having 5 lefties, and I think specifically to Artfelt, I think he's going to be a good D for us now, and I think in the years to come, I think the master plan is just keep grinding away. We got back late Sunday, so we didn't practice yesterday. So with things that I think we need to, like power play, and did a lot of O-zone entries and down low play, breakout stuff. Just areas where I think we could be lights out or get as close to operating at a high level. That'll kind of help us. So that's the master plan.
So my question is for all of you. There are a lot of odd rules in the SPHL that you don't see in the higher levels of hockey. Veteran minimums, no stick curve limits, 5-round shootouts, and so on. Is there anything in particular that you wish would be added as a rule or changed that's currently there now?
Get rid of the trapezoid.
I don't even think there's been a few times this year, and I'm sure every coach can say this, where the goalie actually plays the puck outside of the trapezoid and it doesn't actually get called.
I hope I don't get in trouble for that.
No, it's
but-
fine. You guys have something? I got to think.
Yeah, I got to think too.
The delay of game penalty I've always kind of had qualms with. I mean, I guess that's at all levels of play, including the NHL. But if you fling the puck over the glass from your own zone, I don't think it should be a 2-minute minor. I think it should be a defensive zone face-off. You can't change lines. It should be the same punishment as icing, in my opinion. Yeah. That's just a personal opinion on it, because I think it happens a lot in the heat of the moment. It's not an intentional. You're not trying to clear the puck out of the play to.
Well, are we talking like hockey or like could this be like front office stuff too?
Anything, whatever you got.
I think for me, the roster size I wish was a little bigger. We don't have the IR. We don't have 7 or 14 day. We only have 21. And at other levels, they have the flexibility of reserve and a little bit more help in situations, especially when we're not affiliated and guys are getting called up or whatever injured. Then year where I've had to make something happen in 6 hours or 5 hours. We're not playing incredibly short for the weekend, so I guess.
Just the roster size was the first thing that popped up in my mind too. Just shy. I don't talk a lot.
This is for Colton. I see that you and your brother went to the same college together. How was that to be playing in college with your brother?
Yeah, obviously, playing college hockey is a dream come true, and then playing with your twin brother is a whole different story. He's my best friend for my entire life, so getting to spend those 4 years with him and then playing hockey with him and then getting to play our final game together and winning a championship was something special that I'll never forget, and it's lifelong memories like that you hang on to forever. So it's very, very fortunate to have done that with my brother.
Coach, any chance we see Walter number 2 on the roster anytime soon? Have a Sedin twins type of situation?
I don't know. No, my brother, unfortunately, he hung up the skates, and he's a corrections officer in Colorado now.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
Yeah, probably not.
It's too bad. Any other questions, guys? Sean, did you have anything else?
I got one more. So my question is for Mello. Well, actually I have two, because I've pronounced your name like 7 different ways now. What is the correct pronunciation of your last name?
Are you talking Canadian or Italian way?
There's
a difference.
How is it that you would like me to say it?
However you want to say it, really. I mean, teachers in school, they usually call me Cimello, but if you talk to my nonna, my grandmother, it's Camello. That's the proper way in Italian, is Camello. So, but whatever you feel like. Cimello seems to kind of roll off a little bit better. So, people usually go with Cimello. Yes, that's how my mom calls me too, so she would like that.
Does your grandma listen to the broadcast? Because if she does, I should probably change the way that I'm saying it.
She might actually be listening today.
Okay. All right, from now on, you're Camello.
She'll like that. She appreciates it. She'll text me later and say.
So my other question for you was that you bounced around a lot, and I know from my own experience playing that can be challenging, and it changes the way you kind of think about your own game. So what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned in the past 2 years playing professional hockey?
Just kind of enjoy every moment you have, because you don't know where you're going to be necessarily, or at least for me, I just didn't know where I was going to be, exactly. So just try to enjoy every day, and I mean, approach it as, just work as hard as you can and enjoy the time with the people that you're with for whatever time you're there. And, you'll usually always see me smiling and stuff, and it's because I just enjoy being here, and I enjoy being with Kelly, my girlfriend. So for me, it's just another day and enjoy it because you don't really know, how many more days you have left and just try to work as hard as I can.
All right, guys. Well, as always, thanks so much for your participation. We really appreciate it. I've got one last question for Coach, and then the trivia question, as always, will be at the end. Coach, we've got 3 games in 3 days coming up. You guys are no stranger to that situation. We've had a couple of road trips in which you've played 3 days in 3 cities in 3 games. So my question to you is, what's been the message to the team in practice this week, knowing full well the grind that awaits?
Again, like I said, we didn't skate Monday just because we got back at 9:15 on Sunday night. So yet today it's not a physically taxing 2 days of practice, but it's a little bit more structural and executing kind of what I'm looking for. So like tomorrow there'll be a good bit of special teams, both power play and penalty kill and zone work. Playing 3 different teams, 3 different nights is a bit of a challenge just because you got to kind of figure out tendencies of each. Pensacola's a bit more of a heavy team, and Huntsville's got some heaviness with a little bit more skill, and then Knoxville's obviously highly skilled, very fast, smaller team. So figure out how do we best counteract what they're doing and gives us success. So taxing days, sharp and doing it right in practice, so that way, when we're under fire and under pressure during the game, we're
Without a doubt, lots of film sessions for you in the coming days, lots of preparation for you to do, but as we said, you're no stranger to that, and that's something that you enjoy doing. That's the last question I have. Final thing that we're going to ask is always a trivia question, and it's this. What jersey number does Colton Walter wear for the Mayhem? No. You get one guess. I should have mentioned that. So that you don't just go numerically. Go. Congratulations. Was it Lisa? Did you get it? Congratulations. You've won an autographed puck from Colton Walter and Mike Camelo. I'm sorry.
Already. It's been like 5 minutes.
You don't get one then. All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming out. We really appreciate you being here, and we hope you've enjoyed your meals, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Well, we are very sorry for this extensive delay. Unfortunately, I don't really have any news to report. You know about as much of this situation as I do, and that's that there was a big hit thrown along the half wall in the Pensacola zone. It was delivered by Caleb Cameron. I can't remember which player he hit. For some reason, I want to say it was Sescon, but I can't be sure. But that's kind of beside the point. The point is that the hit resulted in major boards issues and ice issues which stemmed from it. Right now there appears to be a crevice in between the ice and the boards that the rink staff's been working on for the past 45 minutes. And I went down there myself to inspect it a little bit and ask around, and all I was really told was that just tell your listeners we're having ice issues. Please bear with us, and that's what I've said, and that's really the only news I have to report, unfortunately. I really don't know at what point they'll decide to cancel this game if need be, but I don't imagine they can allow this to continue for much longer because it is a Thursday night, and people have school and work tomorrow morning, and this is really the worst thing that can happen on a Thursday night game. So we apologize, but it's just really out of everybody's control at this point. So again, folks, I'll update you with any information that I hear, but updates here at the Centreplex have been very few and far between. So unfortunately, I've really utilized all 42 minutes or so of commercial time that I had allotted for this game. I don't really have much else to play, so we'll just have to go with old archived episodes of Line Change for the time being. so as to just have something playing, so it's not just dead air. But unfortunately, that's really all we can do. So again, we apologize for the lengthy delay here. We appreciate your patience. Folks in the arena certainly getting restless, and we hope to have this resolved soon. In the meantime, I'm going to play back our last episode of Line Change from a couple of weeks ago with Mayhem forward Dylan Denemy and equipment manager / goaltender Evan Watts. So if you missed that episode, it's coming your way now on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Again, folks, I'll be back hopefully soon to report any news that comes our way. In the meantime, please enjoy this archived segment of Line Change with Coach Ryan Michael, Dylan Denemy, and Evan Watts. 1-0 the score in favor of Pensacola with 13:46 to go in period one. You're listening to the Macon Mayhem Broadcast Network on SBHL Live, powered by Endeavor Streaming, and on YouTube.
About the previous series that we had against... All right, everyone. Well, sorry for the delayed start, but we're ready to get started now. As always, we really appreciate you being here for episode 10 of season 2 of Line Change with Coach Ryan Michael. Our guests tonight, we've got two very special ones, Dylan Denemy and equipment manager / emergency backup goaltender Evan Watts. If you would, please give a round of applause for these two. I'm going to get to you guys in just a second. The first thing I want to do is talk to Coach Michael here about the previous series that we had against Fayetteville. A very strong opponent this season, Coach, the Fayetteville Marksmen. A very improved team this year. The Mayhem kept the point streak going on Friday night, but unfortunately couldn't extend it any further on Saturday. What did you see as some of the biggest learning points from this past weekend?
Like you said, they're a really good team. Depth, up front and in their D-core is pretty high. So Friday, for the most part, I thought the keys were slowing the game down. They want to play up tempo. They're quick in the sense that their forwards and D are both fast individually, but they play very fast. They transition really well. So it was important that we slowed them down, on their breakouts and in the neutral zone, and force them into a slower sort of game. I thought, Friday we did that pretty well, and as a result, we were there in the end, just getting the 1 point. And then Saturday, the second half of that game, we kind of got away from that, and they got to the game they wanted to get to, in the sense that we didn't disrupt them enough in breakouts and in neutral zone regroups, and that's why it was almost wave after wave of offense for them that second half. So.
Yeah, it was. Certainly it felt that way in the third period following a sharp angle goal from Brian Bowen, and things sort of snowballed a little bit from there. But in terms of preparation for you as a coach, does it make it easier knowing that you're going right back up there, 6 days later to take them on in their own building?
Yeah, I think so. Your team is a little bit accustomed to what type of game they like to play, and what's important in terms of your end and the things you need to do to have success. And for us, we're going to have film tomorrow.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. Well, unfortunately, we just received news that this game has been postponed due to the ice conditions here at the Macon Centreplex. We do not know what the date is yet of that game. The tickets for this game will be valid for that game when it will be announced at a later date, but we do not have that date yet. I've also been informed that the game will restart from the beginning. It will be a full 60-minute game. Right now the clock is still showing 13:46 with a 1-0 Pensacola lead. I imagine Pensacola will get that 1-goal lead to start the game, but I can't be certain. That point was not specified by our PA announcer here tonight. But folks, we sincerely apologize. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed the 6 or so minutes of actual hockey that you got to experience on some Thursday night hockey, but unfortunately, it was just not meant to be this evening. So Pensacola is going to go ahead and head up to Roanoke. If you're an Ice Flyers fan tuned in, we apologize to you as well. The Ice Flyers will play in Roanoke tomorrow night and on Saturday night. And for the Mayhem, they still have games this weekend. On Friday and Saturday, they will host Huntsville and Knoxville, respectively. Friday, of course, is First Responders Night. That's tomorrow night. Puck drops at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Saturday will be Saturday will be Macon's Pack the Plex night against the Knoxville Ice Bears. $6 tickets are still available, so if you're interested in coming out, by all means, head to our website, maconmayhem.com. You can purchase them via Ticketmaster, or you can just call the box office right here at the Centreplex and purchase them that way to avoid the Ticketmaster fees. And if it's a group of 10 or more, as always, you can call the Mayhem front office at 478-803-1592 and purchase your group tickets that way. Either way, we apologize for this unfortunate incident here tonight, folks. Nobody here leaving the arena is thrilled, obviously, with what's happened, but sometimes life just happens, and there's really nothing that anybody can do about it, I'm afraid. Caps off to the rink crew for doing all that they could to try to get this game back underway. Unfortunately, it just was not meant to be here tonight. So, folks, if you follow us on Mayhem social media, that is where we'll update the news, the most up-to-date news as to when the rescheduled game will be. In all likelihood, it will have to be a weeknight, and it will probably take place at 7:30 p.m. Against Pensacola. So, thanks so much for tuning in tonight, folks. We appreciate your support as always. Till tomorrow night from the Macon Centreplex, Alex Von Coydle signing off, saying so long and enjoy the rest of your Thursday night.